Today I'm going to do some analysis on Litecoin, and I'm going to explain to you why I think it has a very strong chance of ripping out higher, stronger than any coin this next week. Okay, now I am overall bearish on the market, but if there's one coin I'm going to be bullish on right now, it's definitely Litecoin. I'm going to explain to you why in this video. I would not be surprised Litecoin at $95 could pump 25% by the end of this next week. Okay, so I'm talking Litecoin at $95. This thing could literally be at 118 by the end of the week. That's a crazy, crazy, crazy pump we're talking about. Okay, so let's get into the analysis. Let's say Bitcoin, for example, pumps, 4% this week, right? And Litecoin pumps, 25%. I mean, that's a big deal, right? So, for example, once again, if Bitcoin pumps 8%, Litecoin pumps 25%, that's the kind of outperformance we're expecting in Litecoin, right? If Bitcoin does anything decent here. Okay, so let's go back to Litecoin. I just want to show you that obviously this has been one of the strongest uptrending coins in the market for the last 6 months. Okay, and it was the first coin to actually set the bottom of the bear market. Now, you can see this uptrend we have in Litecoin, and you can just see tap, tap, tap again perfectly. MACD is starting to come up, okay, and it actually happened right at the 50-day moving average, which is just a line. It doesn't mean a ton, but I mean, you can see, boom, you have that support right there. You have that support right there, and you have MACD coming up. And then, once again, it's just been one of the strongest uptrending coins in the last 6 months. And so it's been a little quiet in the last month versus Bitcoin, actually. Okay, you can see this from this chart right here. In the last month, Litecoin over Bitcoin has actually, it's kind of been sideways or out, it really hasn't done much against Bitcoin. Okay, and that's what I like to see, because in my opinion, that's going to set up to outperform Bitcoin. You see, there are times where you underperform Bitcoin, and then there are times where you outperform Bitcoin. And so in my opinion, this has been a lull, a calm before the storm, before Litecoin can actually start outperforming it again. Okay, so check out this uptrend in the Litecoin versus Bitcoin pair ever since June right here of 2022. Litecoin overall in the big picture, right, for the last however many months that is, that's 258 days, right? Holding Litecoin is producing you way better returns than Bitcoin. That's what this chart is telling you, right? So much so that if you had held Litecoin instead of Bitcoin for the last 260 days, you would have pretty much more than doubled your Bitcoin, right? Litecoin is up 135% versus Bitcoin. So in the last year trend, Litecoin is majorly outperforming Bitcoin, right? And then in the shorter trend, right, as in 1 month, as in 3 months, Litecoin's actually been slightly underperforming, right? So look, in the last year, Litecoin's outperforming. In the last 3 months, in the last 1 month, Litecoin is underperforming. But you know what that looks like? Kind of looks like a bull flag. And what it most importantly looks like is this right here. What Monero did versus Bitcoin in the last year. So if you don't know what Monero versus Bitcoin did, it did this exact same pattern we're seeing Litecoin do right now, which is this. You do this major run-up into top number 1, and you have a deep pullback into bottom number 1. Right here you have major run-up into top number 1, deep pullback into bottom number 2. You go for the second run-up into top number 2, which is slightly lower than that first top. You go for the run-up into top number 2, slightly lower than that first top. Another deep pullback into bottom number 2, slightly higher than that first bottom. Deep pullback into bottom number 2, slightly higher than that first bottom. And then look what Monero did versus Bitcoin for the next year. It just completely destroyed it. Went up 100% almost in the next 216 days. Monero just went up and up and up versus Bitcoin. And so that's the exact same thing we're seeing repeating on Litecoin right now. Is it's copying the same pattern that we saw Monero versus Bitcoin do. It's just doing it in its own way right now. And that's why I think over the next, right here, the next 150 days, you can expect Litecoin to outperform Bitcoin because it's the same pattern as Monero over Bitcoin, and that's how Monero outperformed and destroyed Bitcoin in performance. So same pattern. I think we're going to see similar results, and that's one thing that I like about this is the longer term trend of the last year Litecoin is outperforming Bitcoin, right? In the shorter term trend, it's slightly underperforming, right? It's just the calm before the storm. So now it's been calm for a little. It's had some time to run up, cool off for a little, and I think we're preparing for the next run up higher in Litecoin over Bitcoin performance. And so this matches up very well because you have a bottom one, bottom two, bottom three at where, guys? The third bottom is perfectly at 1 year support for Litecoin versus Bitcoin pair. Since it started its uptrend in June of 2022, you can see it comes to this uptrend and it just finds support perfectly. And so we are right here on the third tap of support for Litecoin versus Bitcoin. And this is where I think it's going to start to seriously outperform Bitcoin, right? And it makes sense. You have the same pattern repeating that Monero versus Bitcoin did before it went and ran for a year, right? So it's the same bullish pattern right into support on the third tap of support, and it's been cooling off for a few months after outperforming Bitcoin for the last year. So to me, it has all the ingredients to start running, and that's the thing. When the Litecoin versus Bitcoin pair starts running, it runs, right? So look, off this first tap, you ran 64%. Off the second tap, you ran 94%. And on this third tap, if we get any similar results, we're going to see Litecoin versus Bitcoin. We're going to see Litecoin outperform Bitcoin by 37% plus easily, okay? And so, once again, here, boom, 70%. Here, boom, 90%. You know, like I said, you got to be bullish on Litecoin over Bitcoin at this point based on the charts, okay? And it doesn't matter what you think. If you think Bitcoin's better, if you think Bitcoin's more original, Bitcoin's first, whatever, these are your narratives, these are your stories that you're telling yourselves, but the charts are telling you this is a very bullish point for the pair, and that's why we are far more bullish on Litecoin than we are Bitcoin, okay? And that's why here, if we think that Litecoin is going to outperform Bitcoin by the likes of 37% plus, then that means, for example, if Bitcoin goes up 10%, at that point you would expect Litecoin to go up, what, 14%, right? If it's outperforming by 37%, I think. Now, I could be off on that. I'm not actually sure. So, yeah, the point is we're bullish on the Litecoin versus Bitcoin pair. I'm bullish on the Litecoin chart, which has 4-hour bullish divergence right now. Okay, so you can see it set this lower low, right? So this is the thing about our analysis, right? We're looking at the longer term picture, right? We're looking at the last 1 year chart. We're looking at the daily chart. And now we're zooming in onto the 4-hour chart and looking at the smaller time frame. The smaller time frame shows us we have bullish divergence. As we went lower, we got stronger, now pumping out of this second bottom. And what I'll also point out is obviously, yes, remember we have this uptrend line right here, right? Then on top of that, if you want to look at some shorter term trend lines, you could maybe say that, hey, you have this one right here. Okay, and so the way I see it is I see, a short-term trend line right here of support. I see a short-term, the long-term trend line of support right here, and I see that we set a lower low with higher strength in the RSI, which is a bullish divergence. So to me, it shows us that, hey, we shouldn't be going lower than 87, 88 bucks right here, right? Because that would actually be breaking through all three of these supports right here, right? So this is our magic support area right now that we expect to hold, right? Versus the US dollar as well as versus Bitcoin, okay? So we are very bullish on Litecoin right here, and we cut the trade if Litecoin starts breaking down to here, to $88, $87. So we're very bullish here, and we're loading up on Litecoin this week, and I expect it to outperform Bitcoin and the stock market and just about everything. So 7% downside, we know that Litecoin can easily outperform Bitcoin by 30%, and we know that this pair could completely rip higher here, like we've seen it do the last 2 times it got to the support. And so it's just a very bullish setup in my eyes for Litecoin. So that's my analysis on why I think Litecoin is pretty likely to, rip faces off right now, and if the market is bullish in any way this next coming week. Now, the thing is, right, stock market has been dropping pretty hard, but at this point, can we expect a bounce? I think there's a fair chance of a bounce, right? You could see this right here. We've come down to this support since we set the bottom, right? And we are kind of holding it, kind of breaking down with these moving averages right here on the line. So this is an area that we may bounce, right? Kind of like a bear trap as it's slightly breaking through support, but it's actually coming down to these supports, which is the 200-day moving average, and then it's right below this big wick low right there. So it's a point in the stock market where we could actually start to bounce, or at least, you know, the knife can be caught a little, right? And where maybe we don't sell off completely here, right? So some temporary relief in the markets will help Bitcoin not get slaughtered. And if, as long as Bitcoin's not getting slaughtered, Litecoin's going to do extremely well here. For example, if Bitcoin even goes up 2% this week, right, then we can expect Litecoin to outperform it by a significant margin. So, you know, once again, if Bitcoin goes up 2% this week, Litecoin may go up 5% plus, right? So all we need is the market to not collapse here, and Litecoin should do extremely well. And once again, it's going to outperform stocks. It's going to outperform Bitcoin. It's going to outperform corn, wheat, you name it. I think Litecoin is the best setup right now in the market if you're a bull. Okay, there's not a coin more bullish unless you're pumping and dumping micro cap coins on people. There is not a more bullish large cap coin in the top 20 right now than Litecoin, in my opinion. So that is my analysis. That is why we're very bullish on Litecoin relative and versus to the rest of the market. And remember, when I say the rest of the market, I'm talking stocks, wheat, corn, commodities, oil, Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything. I am more bullish on Litecoin than anything right now this week in the market. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this analysis, and that's why I think Litecoin has the chance to absolutely rip higher this week. Considering if the market doesn't just absolutely collapse this week. Okay, so as long as the market is flat to bullish, expect Litecoin to outperform. I have already alerted everyone who's in my Telegram alerts channel about this, and so we're locked and loaded, prepared for a Litecoin pump this week. So I have a $300,000 position this week on Litecoin, and I'm expected to lose $20,000 if Litecoin comes down to 87 this week. Okay, so I'm going to lose minus $20,000 if I am wrong and everything collapses this week. Okay, this is the most important thing when you're trading, is you understand what is my worst case scenario if I'm going to be wrong, because you will be wrong, and if you lose all your money when you're wrong, then you are not going to last in this game, right? So the most important thing before you ever enter a trade, how much am I going to lose if I'm wrong? Once you have that set up, then we can talk about upside and how much we're going to make if we're right. So once again, we're going to lose $20,000 this week if Litecoin comes down to $87. But what's more likely going to happen is Litecoin's going to start pumping out. We're going to hit 100 to 106, to where if things really pop off and exceed expectations, like I said, well, I wouldn't be shocked to see Litecoin get to 120. And that, guys, is a crazy pump. I mean, can you imagine a 25% pump in 1 week? That is insane. That is borderline insane, right? But we've seen it happen twice before, right? Where Litecoin went berserk, where Litecoin went crazy, right? And I think this is that third time that Litecoin can do it here, where it's going to go and just do some ridiculous push that people are not expecting. And that's what the charts are telling me. So these ridiculous pushes, they happen slowly until they happen all at once. And so right now, it's slow. Right now, the market is not moving until, boom, all of a sudden, it just rips out and no one was expecting it. And everyone starts talking about Litecoin after the pump. Okay, but we're loaded up before that pump, I believe, okay, based on what the charts are showing me. So once again, it's slow until it happens all at once. You got to be patient. You have to have your plan. You have to be confident in what you're seeing in the charts. If you can do that, that's how you prepare for these pumps that everyone is going to talk about after the fact they happen, and you're going to be the one who's in before it happens, okay? So once again, I think minimum we could pump 7% to 13%, to, if we really exceed expectation, we could pump 27% in a very short period of time. That is a wild move. With 7% risk to the downside, this is your most bullish thing in the entire market going into this week, in my opinion. So I hope you guys enjoy this analysis. Guys, if you want to join my Telegram alerts channel where I live alert you in real time, show you exactly how much I'm putting on the trade, to make how much, to lose how much, It's the first link down below this video. It's completely free to join my Telegram alerts channel. Completely free. You do not pay a penny to join my alerts channel. So if you want to join, first link below. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And I hope I'll be right. And this video will serve you well this week. And Litecoin will pump out higher. But of course, always, the most important thing is define how much am I going to lose if I'm wrong. That is the most important thing before you ever jump into a trade. How much will you lose if you're wrong? If you can set that, if you can control your risk, okay, then everything else will take care of itself, okay? So, guys, could be an epic pump this week. I hope this helps you. Like I said, guys, I'm locked and loaded, okay? I'm prepared to lose. I'm prepared to be wrong, but I already know that based on the charts, I'm probably not going to be wrong. Like, it's a very low probability that I'm going to lose $20,000 this week. But what's a very high probability is, once again, we're going to pump out to 107, okay? I'm going to be right, and everyone's going to be like, damn, dude, this dude's so good, he called it. And I'm going to make $37,000 plus, you see? So let's make a deal, guys. I mean, one, you should know that my alerts are completely free to join. I don't charge you a single penny to join my alerts channel. But what you should do, okay, is you owe it to yourself, especially if Litecoin pumps out and goes crazy here like I'm calling for. You owe it to yourself to take the crash trading charts course. Once again, I don't force anyone to. It's optional. I literally give you free alerts. You don't have to pay me a penny. You don't have to pay me a dime to join and trade with me and profit on this stuff with me. But it really does help you a lot to be able to see these things for yourself, to have the confidence in what you're doing and see what other people don't see. Like, don't you want to be self-sufficient, like, and be able to see this for yourself instead of waiting for me to make a video, and waiting for the news to tell you that Litecoin pumped when you could have been in before it pumped? Like, it all really comes down to the charts. I'm not focusing on the news right now, right? What's the news? There are no news, right? There's gonna be news after the pump. There is no news before the pump. You see, news doesn't help you trade. You have to be able to read the charts to be able to get in before the pumps, right? And that's what I'm trying to show you, and that's what reading charts helps you do. So you owe it to yourself, guys. I'm telling you, if you make a bag this week, Litecoin pumps out, you make 20,000, 30,000 like me, you should probably take the crash trading charts course, reinvest some of those profits into yourself so you can learn to do this like me and how I do it. And let's have a good week, guys. All right, I'm looking forward to it. Could be a nasty pump, but always, worst case, I'm ready. If we go down to 87.4, okay, look, check this out. 87.4, how much money am I going to lose? This is the most important thing, right? 87.4. I'm going to lose $12,000. No, I should lose more than that. I think it's because I already set my stop loss. Stop loss, Litecoin, 88.7 here. Here it is. So I'm just doing this to show you guys always. What is your worst case? Plan for your worst case. If you control your risk, the rest of the stuff will take care of itself, right? So 88.5. Risking $20,000, just like I told you, right? So once again, risking $20,000, which is highly unlikely going to hit. But if it does, all right, I'm prepared for that. I'm cool with that. But what's more likely to happen is I'm going to make $37,000 this week, right? $20,000 plus this week. So, I'd say it's like an 80% chance I'm going to be right, 20% chance I'm going to lose 20,000, and I'm taking those odds any day of the week, right? 20% chance to lose 20,000, 80% chance I'm going to make 20,000 to 37 to more than that. So, guys, good luck if you take this, and yeah, we'll see how it goes by the end of the week. I'm very bullish on Litecoin. Hope you enjoyed the analysis. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye.